Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Thursday, December 28th of 2023. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Hopefully, you guys are having a wonderful week so far. Let's go ahead and hop into these astrological transits so you can be better prepared to navigate these celestial energies. Well, I just went down a little bit of a rabbit hole, just a slight little rabbit hole, just kind of peering into the future to kind of check out this moon in Cancer. Right now, we got the moon in Cancer today. It's going to be making some nice aspects. It's going to be trining Venus. It's going to be trining Neptune. So we have like a grand water trine. I would say, even though Neptune and Venus are within 3 degrees of each other, when you have the moon involved with it too, especially in its home sign, it's going to bring about some grand water trine kind of energy. So a great opportunity for some great healing. But I think what's weird about it is that you have Venus in Scorpio, right? Which is it's in its detriment, doesn't really like to be there. And then you have Neptune in Pisces, which is in its dignity. But the weird thing about this whole Neptune in Pisces is that we're kind of getting to, you know, we're getting to the edge when it comes to all of this subconscious spiritual stuff in our life, these sort of energies. So with this moon here today that is going to be trining all this energy, it also is going to be quincunxing the Mercury and Mars, which have now switched spots here in Sagittarius. Remember in yesterday's video, I talked about how they switch spots. Now today we're going to see Mars make that square over to Neptune while the moon is trining Neptune and it's also quincunxing Mars. That's the weird thing about this energy is that now that Mars and Mercury have flipped, and even though Mercury is going to be coming direct soon, as will Jupiter, there's still this feeling that we want to kind of jump the gun a bit here. This Mars, now that it's forward, it's moving fast and stuff like that. Venus is trying to catch up to Mars too. Remember, they won't conjunct into Aquarius next year. So there's definitely this element where we want to take some sort of action. We want to feel like we have it figured out, right? Sagittarius is big picture energy, right? We want to feel like we have it figured out. But we got to remember the ruler Sagittarius, Jupiter, is still retrograde and it's in Taurus. So what exactly have we figured out? What exactly have we figured out? Have we figured out the big picture when it comes to our philosophies in life, when it comes to our beliefs? How we figured all that stuff out about how we connect with other people and stuff like that? How we figured out all that sort of stuff, right? Or is it more of like is it a little bit more basic? Not saying that Tauruses are basic, but is it a little bit more earthly? Is it a little bit more human? Are those the things that we are needing to really figure out, right? Because, like I said, the ruler of Sag is Jupiter, which is still retrograde, and it's in Taurus, right? So, trying to expand upon these ideas and these beliefs right now, and now with Mars moving in front of Mercury, we definitely want to take some sort of action, but there's that check to Neptune that's happening. And with a moon that's in Cancer, trining Neptune and trining Venus, Venus is looking for a deeper intimacy in life. It's trying to find it in Venus is trying to find the intimacy in the extremes right now, especially at the end of Scorpio, especially when sextile to Pluto, which is Pluto is dispositing this Venus, right? Venus is trying to find the intimacy and the love and the connection in some of the most extreme places, or what we perceive to be the most extreme places, right? Like we think we're going to find it with this individual that lives a fast life, whatever like that. We think we're going to, like, just in my head, I'm just thinking of like, you know, and you see this story happen all the time. Like it's like, oh, nice guys finish last, right? Like the chick, instead of going for the nice guy that has like the decent job, she goes for the fucking, the fucking gangster that is pushing drugs and shit, right? And yeah, may have all of this physical cash, money, whatever like that, but lives like a really fast lifestyle and stuff like that. And it's exciting and stuff like that. But at the same time, is it actually leading you where? Does it actually go anywhere? You know what I'm saying? So I think there's an element here with this Venus in Scorpio that, like I said, it's in sextile to Pluto, which is an opportunity, but it's also realizing that, you know, trying to find the connection in those places, especially in places that are falling apart, that are having to be reborn and revitalized, trying to find a connection to these places on the last degrees of it, like some Hail Mary kind of energy. This is like literally trying to attach yourself to what has been working at the end of that thing's cycle. It's like trying to like, let me go ahead, let me jump on the bandwagon now. Well, it might be too late, but it's like we feel like we need to jump on the bandwagon because it had, maybe it's been working for 50 years, 100 years, whatever like that. And we feel like, well, if I jump on the bandwagon now, you know, maybe I'll get something. Maybe some of my desires will be met. And that's the weird thing about this too. It's like you can see this happening in many different areas, right? People jumping on maybe social media thing or trying to be an influencer and all this sort of stuff. But you have to realize you got to be an influencer even when all this stuff is gone. Because we don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know how long we're going to have the internet. We don't know how YouTube's going to be around. We don't know how long TikTok's going to be around. We don't know how long it's going to be all around. So what happens then? Are you still going to be an influencer in your life? Are you still going to do this work even if you don't have this? Or are you only doing it for the clout? Or are you only doing it for the perceived success, the perceived, opulence of those who have taken something maybe to a higher level, and now you want to like overly attach yourself to it? That's the weird thing with the whole Venus and Scorpio thing, right? And we only have a little bit more time with Venus and Scorpio. It's going to come into Sagittarius in the next couple of days, right? So this moon shifting through Cancer today, like I said, it's going to, oh, well, hold on, let me move that back to hours. Yes, it's going to quincunx Mercury. And then, yes, it's going to immediately quincunx Mars. So you got two awkward energies back to back with that moon. And yes, the moon would have already, by the time that you guys watch this, would have already squared the North Node, but then it's going to square Eris, right? This planet of discord has a 500 plus year cycle around the sun. We're going to see the moon square that, right? And then we're going to see an aspect that is going to be one of the last times that we see it, which is going to be the moon in Cancer opposing Pluto in Capricorn. And I just looked it up. This is the third to last time that we're going to experience this. Because by the time that the moon comes back around to Cancer, Pluto will be in Aquarius. And even next year, when Pluto ingresses back into Capricorn, we're only going to see it 2 more times. And that's it. We are almost at the end of the moon in Cancer opposing Pluto in Capricorn. We are almost there. This is the third to last time that we experience it on this day, December 28th. So there are a lot of cycles that are coming to an end. And when there are a lot of cycles that are coming to an end, it can definitely bring up some anxiety, some worries about how we want to move into this new world, this new future, this new era, if you will. And there can be a desire to kind of clamber onto the past. And you're going to see people. This is literally, I have like this image of like a train and people just hopping on the caboose. Like people just chasing after the caboose and hopping on it. Or like that image of when the USA pulled out of, Afghanistan or whatever. And you saw the picture of people hopping on the plane and stuff like that, and grabbing onto the freaking like wheels of the plane and stuff like that, hopping on the wings and people falling off and all that sort of stuff. That's what's happening, is that people are jumping on trains and planes that they believe are going to take them to the promised land. That's what's happening right now. But is that actually the promised land that it's taking you to? Is that the savior? Is that the saving place, the saving grace? We have to ask ourselves if that's the case. If jumping on these things to try and go to a whole new place, whatever like that, is what's going to save us, or is it about growing Is it about growing what's already within you and creating something beautiful from that place? There's such a desire with all this Sag energy, with Mercury, Mars, and then Neptune and Saturn here in Pisces, but they're squaring each other. There's such a desire to escape and go out there and go to a foreign place and whatever, to go way out there for all the answers. That's what the saving grace is. It's way out there. It's in here. It's in here. And I think that's what we have to remember. That's what we have to remind ourselves. We're going to see, of course, that moon is going to come into Leo today, right? And I think it does make the quincunx over to Saturn as well. Yeah, it makes the quincunx over to Saturn, late Thursday night going into your Friday. We'll start to see that energy as well. So I really do feel like a day like today, it can be beautiful, it can be positive with the moon in Cancer, of course, making these trines. But we got to remember, this moon in Cancer has been a laboring kind of energy because it's constantly having to do with Pluto, having to oppose Pluto. And then it also opposed Saturn a lot too, like when Saturn was there and when Jupiter was there too. Like it's just been constantly having to deal with this. It'll eventually get to the point where the moon goes into Cancer and it doesn't have to oppose Pluto anymore. But for now, we still, even when we want to feel more emotionally connected, we still have to face our shadows. We still have to face the things that we have suppressed via Pluto. We still have to face those things. And with it being at 29 degrees, this is about facing the shadows of how society has gotten to this point in the pinnacle of what we feel like society is or should be, facing the shadow of all of that. That's a lot of stuff to cover. Look at all that. That's a lot of stuff to cover. Not to mention that the sun is about to hit the degree that Mercury retrograded at, which was 8 degrees. Venus will be coming into Sag soon, which would be nice because it'll be a bit of a lighter energy per se, right? But then Venus will be disposited by this Jupiter, right? And Jupiter is in Taurus, which Venus traditionally rules, right? So we think it's weird. Like we think that we're kind of like we are getting a bit of a reprieve. You know what I'm saying? Like Jupiter's about to come direct, Mercury's about to come direct, and it does feel like we can finally get up to that fourth, that fifth gear. But even then, like it's not going to be immediate. It's not going to have. It's not like you're going to be able to just jump and go right into the beautiful life that you want. It's not like you're going to just instantly manifest that shit, and that can cause some frustration. Feeling that, wait, you're telling me I'm like this really powerful person, this really powerful being that can manifest anything that he wants, but when I think about it or what I would try to bring into reality, it's still slow. I'm like, yeah, you're still bound by the human experience. So yes, yeah, you are an infinite divine spark you are an infinite divine spark, you know. And you have this power to manifest shit, but yeah, things still take time. And that's the part that perturbs a lot of people on the spiritual journeys. I was like, I learned that I have all this power, but I still have limiters on my power. Yes. No one said it was going to be easy. No one said that leveling up was going to be easy. If a video game never progressed in difficulty as you got along, and yeah, you can set difficulties. Like if you have like RPGs, there's like the easy mode, the regular mode, the intermediate mode, the hard mode, the god mode, where it's like you like die because a boar freaking hits you, and boars are like the first like animal that you fight in a lot of RPGs is like a boar, right? And like on the regular mode, you can beat the boar pretty easily, but on God mode, it's like you got to learn how to parry that shit. You got to learn how to dive. You got to learn how to juke. Whereas on regular mode, you can just slash and dice the boar and you're fine. But then on God mode, it's like that same level within the game is harder, you know? So that's kind of where we are right now. It's like, wait a minute, this same level is harder, Well, yeah, because you're playing the game on a different difficulty mode. So it's like, that's the thing about this. But why else would you have come here if not to experience this crazy, intense, exhilarating time? You didn't just come here to shuck corn. You didn't just come here to fucking sit in a fucking office for 30 years of your life, 40 years in your life, and then get like a retirement, get like a pension, and do all that sort of stuff, and then retire and just go to lunch or brunch with like the same 5 people every day, and then spend the holidays with like your family and friends. You didn't come here to just do all that. That world is over. That world is done. It's coming to an end. It's not sustainable. No, you came here to do more. You have a bigger purpose. And I'm not there was lessons in that lifestyle. There were lessons in getting a job and staying at it for 30 to 40 years and getting the retirement and getting all this. There was lessons in that. Okay? And there are amazing, great people and light workers that did that life. Right? But that world is coming to an end. The other world that's coming to an end is the whole idea of being like an influencer on the internet and doing all these sort of things. And you see people jumping on, the people trying to jump on the YouTube thing or the TikTok thing. And I'm going to continue to make videos and stuff, but I'm also like, I'm going to continue to do this work outside of this. And one of the things that I'm going to be moving into in 2024 is not just doing the astrology like this, but to actually go out into the world and doing the astrology out there and talking to people and connecting with people out there and doing these horoscopes in person with groups of people, because that's what's really important, you know, and not really even relying on even the technology and stuff like that, not relying on necessarily like the software and all this sort of stuff, but to actually like, okay, if I know how fast certain planets move and stuff like that, I can pretty much calculate when things are going to move into certain signs. And actually, like, I don't look up at the stars as much as I used to, but actually going out there and looking up at the stars and doing other sort of stuff. So kind of taking things back to basics. That's the interesting thing about this. The Jupiter retrograde in Taurus that is dispositing a Mercury retrograde and a Mars and Sagittarius that wants to have the big picture and wants to move forward and act on the big picture is reminding us to take it back to the basics. Uranus is also there. Take it back to the basics. We want to get out of the sandbox so bad right now. We still haven't mastered the sandbox. Why do you want to get out of the sandbox so bad? Let's enjoy the sandbox for what it is right now. Let's enjoy it. Let's appreciate it. Let's learn from it. Let's love it. You know, let's not be afraid to leave it when it comes time to leave it, but let's appreciate the sandbox right now. There's nothing wrong with appreciating the moment and where we are right now. Let's get into the cards. All right, let's see what we got. You have the Wheel of Fortune, but it's in reverse. Yeah, repeating the same cycles, going around and around, banging your head against the wall. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think we can move forward into this new portal, this new energy, but, you know, we're kind of going around in circles, if you will. You know what I mean? That is going to be followed by, and well, we have the Page of Cups right here, right? When this is it's the Page of Gemstones, but it's the Page of Cups, and I like the Page of Cups. The cups, the page, it's all about being the student. It's all about learning, right? So this is a day where we need to be, you know, open to learning and open to really connecting more to ourselves on an emotional level, more on that spiritual level, and not be so dogmatic in our beliefs and our ideas of the world, and realize that there's much more to learn here. You know, there's so many people that feel like they figured it all out. And they're like, They're like, I'm the master of the sandbox, whatever, like that. I figured everything out in this sandbox. And it's like, are you sure about that? There's a lot more to discover in this sandbox of this reality than we realize. And I think that's the thing too, is that a lot of people have kind of created this sort of ivory tower, if you will, of believing that they figured this shit out. And like, nah, no, you haven't. You know, this is a beautiful moment where we can really, like I said, connect a little bit deeper and stuff like that, and learn and grow and evolve. There's always room for growth. There's always room to evolve. You know, but there's some cycles that are repeating themselves, and we all go through this. We all go through cycles where we kind of repeat the same lessons, stuff like that. So maybe something today comes up where you felt like you kind of, maybe some deja vu even comes up too, with like a Page of Cups and Wheel of Fortune in reverse. This could be like, there may be some like major deja vu that you have today, and you may be like, okay, I was here, I just spawned, I just respawned. It's like you're playing the video game, you died, and then you respawn back to this point, and you're like, oh crap, okay, I was here. All right, so what did I do that caused me to die? I didn't jump high enough. I didn't jump far enough. I forgot to put that input in. Maybe instead of going that way, I go this way. So it's kind of like that, you know. Oh yeah, we have the 10 of Swords in reverse. This is actually not a bad thing at all. I mean, this dude has like the wings of fire, but he's falling down. This is like some straight up Icarus type shit. But because, is this reverse or is this upright? No, this is yeah, no, it's actually, let me try to, let's see. Oh, it is, I mean, regardless, this is some Icarus type shit though. You know what I'm saying? So okay, yeah, it actually is upright. Yeah. So yeah, I think this is sort of like maybe some sort of like idea is coming to an end. Maybe some type of like preconceived notion is coming to an end, right? And maybe it's like we keep spawning to the same point for a reason. And like, okay, maybe for the 15th time, don't try that same maneuver. It's like literally like this was happening to me last night. I was playing this new video game, right? Right? I mean, it's not new, but it's new to me, right? And there's this bridge. It's just like in the beginning of the game. There's this bridge that you have to get across, and you have like these wings. Literally, like in order to get across the bridge, you had to like go to another place and get like these wings that you can't really fly with, but they kind of can extend like the way that you jump. And I kept trying to jump across this thing, and I couldn't figure it out. I tried to run and jump across this bridge because like the bridge was broken, and you had to get across to the other side to continue in the game. And I kept trying to jump across. I kept trying to jump across. I kept trying to jump across, and I kept falling. I kept falling into the water, and I kept respond. Like there was times where I had to respond because all my stamina ran out, and I just couldn't figure it out until I was just like, I am going to find another way. So when I finally jumped across and I failed again, I was like, you know what? I have enough of these. In the game, they're like these little mushrooms that give you more stamina, and the stamina you use it to like, you use it to climb, you use it to swim. But if you run out, then you become exhausted, right? I feel like a lot of us can feel like we're exhausted because we keep trying to do the same thing over and over and over again, and it's not working. But what I end up doing, how I eventually got across that bridge, is that I didn't even jump across it. I climbed up it. I jumped across, and then I was like at the bottom of like this mountain, whatever like that, or this like cliff, and I was like, screw it. I think I have enough mushrooms to start climbing up this thing and eating the mushrooms to regain my stamina, and that's how I got across. It wasn't the traditional way of jumping across the bridge. I climbed up it instead because I couldn't do it the other way. And I think sometimes we look at other people and be like, well, they jumped across the bridge just fine. How come I can't do it? Maybe you have to climb. Maybe you have to find another way around. But I think it's funny is like the wings weren't working for this individual, so he fell. The wings weren't working for me or for my character, my avatar in that particular situation. Doesn't mean that they won't always work, but in that particular situation, it did not work. So I had to climb And then I was able to continue the story. So I think this is about kind of taking a look at our life and seeing that maybe the way to the destination, if you will, to the next level, isn't really what's in the intended manual about how to go about it. The attended guidebook, I guess, if you will, of how to do it. Maybe there's always another way. And the funny thing is that I wouldn't have been able to do that if it still wasn't programmed into the game. So even though there may be an intended way, there are still other ways that are programmed into this matrix, that are programmed into this experience for you to get to the places that you want to go to get to the beautiful places that you want to create for yourselves. There's always a way. You just got to believe it, and you got to be open to that reality coming through. That is going to do it for your astrology forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you'd like to have a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. Be sure to check out my January astrology overview, where I go over January at a glance and highlight some of the major transits that are going to be coming to start off this pretty intense, amazing 2024 that we have. It's going to be a very powerful year. So be sure to check that out. Otherwise, y'all take care. Stay blessed. Have a wonderful Thursday. I will see you guys on the next astrology forecast. Peace.